He was speaking at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. His presence on that campus had divided it, but he was speaking at an event at an outdoor courtyard when the university says a shot rang out and the entire place emptied out. People went running. Charlie Kirk's condition is not immediately clear. We are still waiting for confirmation on his condition. Utah Valley University said a suspect is in custody. We know nothing about that suspect or whether it's the actual shooter. A number of federal officials are now racing to the scene. Orem, Utah has a very small police department, Kira. It shares it with two other nearby communities, so the feds are going to be deeply involved and on their way now as everyone from the president on down in the administration asks the nation to pray for Charlie Kirk, who commonly goes out to college campuses to drum up support for President Trump's agenda and was deeply involved in helping to get the president elected. And now the president is asking the nation for its prayers for Charlie Kirk, who was shot on the campus of Utah Valley University. Kira?
All right, Aaron, I'm being told that we actually have video now of the moment that Charlie Kirk was shot, and I believe we are going to be able to hear some of the audio as well. Let's pause for a moment and take a look.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
And of course, we're going to hold the freeze right there when that single shot, Aaron, was heard. You can see Charlie Kirk underneath that tent taking place with other students surrounding him, involved in Q&A from what I understand. Aaron, do we know if anybody else was hurt, or right now are we just hearing about Charlie Kirk?
The only individual we've heard that was actually shot is Charlie Kirk, Kira. But it's possible that in the ensuing melee, as people bolted from that courtyard, somebody else may have been hurt some other way. We have not heard from the authorities. According to Utah Valley University, it was just the single shot that rang out, striking Charlie Kirk as he was in the middle of addressing the campus there in that courtyard beneath the tent. Anybody else that was hurt, we haven't heard that. And according to police, it seems only one individual was shot. But we're waiting for full confirmation. Also for additional information about the suspect the university says is now in custody.
And what more do we know about this American comeback tour that he has been on, Aaron? Do you know anything more about that?
We know Charlie Kirk is an ardent supporter of President Trump, a podcaster, and often goes to universities around the country to try and support the Trump agenda. And that's what he was doing. And his very presence on the campus, according to an article we've been reading in the school paper, had divided campus. Students, some anyway, were quite upset that he was coming. Others were welcoming him. So there was already tension on campus when Charlie Kirk began speaking at Utah Valley University and when that bullet was fired, Kira.
Got it. I'm getting more now on this American comeback tour that Charlie Kirk has been on. Apparently, the tour planned stops there in Utah, also Colorado, Minneapolis, Virginia, elsewhere. Posts from social media accounts of Turning Point USA, the conservative organization, of course, that Kirk co-founded, was boasting of these large turnouts at these events at campuses just this past spring. And then the tweets started coming in about that one shot that was heard. Mike Lee actually tweeting out that he was tracking the situation there at Utah Valley University and immediately asked for prayers to Charlie Kirk. Then we started to hear from the governor, also the vice president, even Gavin Newsom, saying the attack on Charlie Kirk is disgusting, vile, reprehensible. In the United States of America, we must reject political violence in every form. I want to bring in former NYPD chief of detectives, also our ABC News contributor, Bob Boyce. Bob, do you know anything about the security by chance at this event? I mean, it's no shock to anyone that Charlie Kirk has made a lot of controversial comments throughout the years and since co-founding his organization. So you would think that security would be pretty tight in an event like this, but clearly one shot was able to be made, and Charlie Kirk now down after one shot. Still do not know his condition. We are trying to find out that information. But anything you can tell us about security, usually at an event like this with a controversial speaker?
Whenever you have this in any arena or any venue, you have to understand that it's outside. That brings a lot more problems because you don't have a door, which you should have as a choke point, and do bag searches. If in this kind of situation, there was a petition going around to stop him from doing that. Over 6,700 people signed it. So this kind of controversy, you really need pros and lots of them. So I seen two security officers in front of the stage or where he was sitting, his desk, and that's all I saw at this point. I don't know what they let in, and that's important to understand too. You really have to work the crowd, and you really have to keep an eye on things. This came out of nowhere, and it looks to be a very dire situation from what I understand right now. So this type of thing, you really need professionals to step in there and do it.
Charlie Kirk, 31 years old, a father of two young children under the age of 5. Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas joining us now by phone. FBI, ATF to the scene, also local police. Tell us what's happening within the investigation this hour as all these agencies are now converging on this shooting scene.
Kara, what I can tell you is that this is being treated extremely seriously. And from the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, to the FBI Director, they are sending all available resources to deal with the situation. And I've been in communication with a source who has witnessed the video, reviewed the video, and he describes it as horrible. He used the word horrible. The situation, they are not reporting any specifics on Mr. Kirk's condition, but they're all describing it to me, my sources, as a very extremely serious situation, and they are fearful for his health.
And according to Utah Valley University's student newspaper, Pierre, I'm seeing here that an article was written about Charlie Kirk to be hosting this debate at the UVU Fountain Courtyard this afternoon, exactly where we saw that video. You saw him in the courtyard. You saw him sitting under that tent. The article went on to describe the campus as having a, quote, divided opinion on Kirk actually being invited to speak here on campus, including some who actually started an online petition actually asking the university administrators to stop Kirk from coming. But as you can see, Kirk there, this is video that we were able to obtain from the event where you actually heard that one shot ring out. Not sure where it was coming from, but we do know the suspect is in custody. We know that Charlie Kirk was shot. And now everyone from the Attorney General to the President of the United States to senators to the governor to the vice president, even the FBI Director Kash Patel asking for prayers for Charlie Kirk and his family right now. We do not know his condition. Chief White House Correspondent Mary Bruce on the phone with me now. Mary, are you able to hear me? Have we connected?
Yes, we have, Kira. I hear you.
Talk to me more about Charlie Kirk, his relationship with President Trump, just the sway that he has had, but also has stood up on a number of issues regarding the president, in particular with the Epstein files, but a mega podcaster and a huge influence in Trump world.
He has a massive following and a huge sway, especially with young people. He is close, personally close, with President Trump and with many people within this administration. We've seen so far the president taking to social media, calling for prayers for Charlie Kirk, calling him a great guy from top to bottom and saying God bless him. We have seen the two together on many occasions, especially during the campaign. The president has praised him, heaped praise on Charlie Kirk, especially for really the movement that he's built, for the sway and the power that he has developed really within the far-right movement, especially at such a young age. As you mentioned, he's only 31 years old. We did see them together, as I mentioned, several times on the campaign trail. I think back to when the president attended a large conference, a large summit that he had. And Charlie Kirk is known for being extremely outspoken on a range of issues. He does not shy away from controversy. He's also known for doing those sort of ask me anything sort of sections of his events where he sits down at a table and takes on someone on any issue. He famously did one not that long ago with Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. This is someone who has really taken on such a leadership role in the conservative sphere, someone who is beloved in the MAGA world and who has just a huge following. I don't think you can understate how influential he is, especially with young people and young men, especially young followers who support President Trump. So this is something that is hitting this administration very close to the heart. And you are hearing now, as you mentioned, this real flood and outpouring of support from officials here, from the Attorney General to the FBI Director, the Vice President, the President, all urging for prayers as they hold their breath and wait for news.
And as you mentioned, very outspoken Charlie Kirk in a very tense political climate. Right now, let's get right to our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Kantersky, as we've been asking more questions about a possible motive, about this suspect that's in custody. Aaron, what are you learning?
According to Utah Valley University, it was just after noon local time in Orem, Utah, as Charlie Kirk was speaking at Utah Valley University at an outdoor courtyard when a shot was fired. Kirk was struck, and we're told from the university his own security detail took him from the location. His exact condition has not been made clear, and I think that's reflected in some of the statements that you hear from all the administration officials urging the nation to pray for his well-being, that he will in fact make it. After Kirk was taken from the location by his security detail, Utah Valley University said a suspect was taken into custody. We don't know if that is indeed the suspected shooter, someone else who may be associated with this, or what. It was not specified, and we got no word of anyone else who may have been hit or injured as a result. The campus police are investigating, and as you've heard, Kira, the FBI and other federal agencies are on the way.
And we did, as you can see from that screenshot we had there just a moment ago, we did get video of when that shot did ring out. I don't know if we could re-rack that again and roll that once again. Receiving this video, take a listen. And that was the one moment, as you can see, Charlie Kirk sitting underneath that tent, having Q&A with the students there on the university campus at Utah Valley University. Somebody was rolling video. We were able to obtain the moment that shot did ring out. Let's bring in our Chief Justice Correspondent, Pierre Thomas, on the phone. We've been talking about how outspoken Charlie Kirk has been. He's been on this American comeback tour. He was there in Utah when shots were fired. This is someone previously named Forbes top 30 under 30. He was the youngest speaker at the 2016 Republican National Convention. He was the opening speaker at the 2020 RNC. Not long ago, within the past year, he came out with the book Right Wing Revolution: How to Beat the Woke and Save the West. His social media reaching more than 100 million people a month. Axios listing Charlie Kirk as one of the top 10 most engaged handles in the world. He's also the host of the Charlie Kirk Show, that mega podcast, and quite a controversial figure in a very tense political climate right now. Pierre, are you learning anything more as we now understand the FBI, the ATF, along with local police, all involved? We can even see now images of SWAT rolling in to the university campus as well.
Well, obviously, they're going to make sure that there's no one else involved. As you said, suspect in custody. We don't know any more detail about that just yet. And again, we don't yet know what the motivation here was for whoever fired that shot, whoever injured Mr. Kirk. But one thing we do know is law enforcement has been basically under siege in recent months. There has been a steady and increasing concentration of what can only be described as politically motivated violence. You had the assassination attempt against President Trump while he was running for office last year. You had diplomats in Washington, D.C. Killed outside of a museum. You had those horrific murders in Minnesota involving state legislature. Also, the CDC recently became the target of multiple gunfire as well. So right now, law enforcement is all over this incident to try to determine what is happening here, but the ramifications in terms of politics, people speaking in public venues, figures on the left and the right who may be viewed as controversial. This is a extremely dangerous moment, my sources are telling me, and today only reflects that even more.
And there were even students reaching out to the Utah Valley University, also the newspaper there on campus, writing a review, talking about Charlie Kirk, that he'd be hosting this debate in the UVU Fountain Courtyard this afternoon. The article actually described the campus as being divided, having a divided opinion on Charlie Kirk actually being invited to speak here. And there was even an online petition that was circulating asking university administrators to stop Kirk from coming. But as you can see from the images we've been showing to you, it looked like a full crowd surrounding Charlie Kirk there. And if you're just tuning in, we want to let you know we are getting word and have confirmed now that conservative activist and podcaster Charlie Kirk has been shot during this event at Utah Valley University. You know, he's the founder of Turning Point USA, that conservative student organization. He's known for his outspoken views on politics and culture and religion, often taking his message to colleges and universities like you're seeing here, and sometimes sparking heated debates on college campus, known for that, the Q&A, the back and forth. And now on this tour that he's been carrying out, a tour he had planned to make stops in Utah, Colorado, Minneapolis, Virginia, and elsewhere, taking this tour, the American Comeback Tour, on the road. Now he has been shot at the beginning of this tour. We don't know his condition yet. We do know there is a suspect in custody. Our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky, has been calling all his sources as well. What more do we know, Aaron? Any new updates?
Well, the Utah Valley University wants campus emptied. They've just issued an alert telling everyone to leave campus immediately, as instructed by local police while the investigation gets underway. Campus is closed, the alert said. Classes are canceled until further notice. Police are investigating. Leave campus immediately. That's the word from Utah Valley University, where Charlie Kirk was speaking at an outdoor courtyard beneath a tent with a security detail in place when a shot rang out just after noon local time in Orem, Utah, striking Kirk. He was taken from the location by his security detail, now in an unknown condition, but with many people tied to the Trump administration issuing calls for prayers for his survival and well-being, Kira.
And right now, following up on what you just said, Aaron, this UVU alert that campus has been closed, classes have been canceled until further notice. Police on the scene there, as you can see, both federal and local law enforcement. Charlie Kirk shot this afternoon at Utah Valley University while on his tour, the American Comeback Tour. The event, apparently, I'm seeing the event was free and open to the public. This was not just for university students. Tickets apparently were distributed on a first-come, first-served basis. So the likelihood of this not just being students attending, there were others from the public allowed in, which leads me to questions about security as well. Let's bring in our former FBI agent, also our ABC News contributor, Brad Garrett. In a situation like this on a university campus, Brad, and it looks like it was open to the public. The event was free. I'm curious to know what security was like, especially if you're having a controversial speaker like Charlie Kirk.
Well, predictably, we don't know the answer to this, Kira, that you wouldn't have metal detectors and things of that nature, or maybe even searching people. Perhaps bags, perhaps not. But, you know, these are informal gatherings. If it's open to the public, it's outside. Yes, it might be under a tent, but literally anybody could walk in or out. And I'm sure Charlie and his associates wanted to create that sort of atmosphere. So having said that, my guess is the suspect, this alleged suspect, obviously was just able to walk in and was obviously armed in some form or fashion. And how do you defense against that? Well, based on what I just described, you don't unless you know about it. But, the real key now, of course, is they have the suspect. Who is he? Is he connected to anyone? How did he get there? Is there a car that they're on or should check out? And a residence or two. As we've had numerous discussions, how a person gets to where they get in a shooting is preparation, and are there other places that are connected to him that could be a danger to law enforcement or others? So all of that has to be happening, obviously, at the same time. But, the key is defensing against, as I mentioned earlier, defensing these types of open operations, open forums, are considered soft targets. And, that's the sad reality of where we are.
And we're starting to hear from everyone from Attorney General Pam Bondi saying the FBI and ATF agents are on the scene now. Pray for Charlie. The President of the United States also putting out on social media, we must all pray for Charlie Kirk, who has been shot, a great guy from top to bottom. God bless him. We're also hearing from Senator Mike Lee, one of the first local senators there, putting out that he had confirmed and that there had been a shooting at the university, saying, please join me in praying for Charlie Kirk and the students that are gathered there at the university. And then Gavin Newsom also tweeting out, the attack on Charlie Kirk is disgusting, vile, reprehensible. In the United States of America, we must reject political violence in every form. Let's bring Chief White House Correspondent Mary Bruce back in. We've talked about how tense the political climate is right now, Mary, and a tour like this, no doubt. We now have you live up there from the White House, and you have someone like Charlie Kirk, who has such mega reach, from his podcast to this tour, this American comeback tour that he has been on. And he's said controversial things in the past in a tense political environment, talking about DEI, Jews, women, the LGBTQ community, people of color. And now this event open to the public, the suspect in custody. We don't know if it was a student, if it was someone that came from the outside, but he has been shot, and we are waiting to hear on his condition. But a lot of people weighing in, praying for him right now. Someone who was the opening speaker at the 2020 RNC, someone that has been praised as one of the young up-and-coming conservatives with a tremendous voice, and has a solid relationship with the President of the United States, Mary.
Yeah, and Kira, he is a huge star in the far right and someone who is personally very close with this administration. And I think that's being reflected in the outpouring of prayers and support that you are seeing in the statements that are coming out. Everyone from the President of the United States himself, the Vice President, the Attorney General, the FBI Director. These are people who don't just know of Charlie Kirk, but know him personally. And that is being reflected in these statements. As you mentioned, we have seen him often at important, pivotal events for this party, the Republican National Convention. He's also been seen simply here at the White House at various events. He was last here back in May for an event with the president. He is close to this administration, and he is pivotal to especially the youth support that this president has. The president has heaped praise on him for all of the work that Charlie Kirk has done to really boost his support with young people, especially young men. You've heard that over and over again, especially over during the campaign trail, whenever they would appear together, the president thanking him profusely for the work that he was doing and often praising him for being able to accomplish so much at such a young age, just 31 years old. As you mentioned, this is not someone who shies away from controversy. In fact, the opposite. Charlie Kirk leans into it. It is part of his brand in many ways. He takes on these difficult, often controversial topics head on. He likes a fight. He enjoys a debate. He relishes in it. It's something that's sort of a hallmark of his, is sitting down at that table and being challenged directly in a debate, often with people of the other party. It's really sort of become his one of his many hallmarks. And so to have this event, as you mentioned, the university, it seemed to had faced some pushback there in the community as well. That's not something that is unusual for Charlie Kirk. He often faces pushback and knows that he is obviously in an incredibly tense environment. And while he is very close to this administration, he also hasn't been afraid to push back. We've seen not that long ago in recent weeks, as questions surround the Epstein files, that he has pushed for their release, but also said he supports the president and his approach to this issue. So he is someone who is very much seen as leading the next generation of the far right, of the MAGA movement, and deeply personally connected to this president and to this administration, Kira.
And Mary, we're now hearing from Turning Point USA, an official statement here. This is an ongoing situation. We can confirm that Charlie Kirk has been shot. He is in the hospital, and we are praying for him at this time. Let's take it straight to Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katursky. Aaron, do we have any idea, as we look at that video that we were able to obtain just as that one shot was fired? He was underneath that tent having a conversation back and forth with students there, taking Q&A. Do we know what they were talking about, the essence of the conversation at that time, as we look at the video here of Charlie Kirk there on the campus just not long before he was shot?
According to one eyewitness we were able to speak with, Kira, Charlie Kirk was at first being asked about religion. He was talking about being transgender in America and a connection between transgender Americans and gun violence. Talking about gun violence when the single shot rang out. And according to this eyewitness, this individual saw the single shot strike Charlie Kirk as he was talking about gun violence, and then this eyewitness reports seeing a fountain of blood coming out of the side, perhaps of his neck. We're not sure, again, the reliability of this eyewitness account, but this is what this individual is telling us, Kira, that Charlie Kirk was speaking about gun violence, also religion, and being transgender. And that's when the single shot was fired. And this eyewitness does bolster the police account that it was just a single shot that struck Charlie Kirk, Kira.
Stay with me, Aaron. I hear that we actually are hearing from another eyewitness. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
Everyone got down. Everyone was so scared. And I just grabbed her, and my boss was with us, which is her mom. She was like, run. And we finally got up and followed the crowd, and I just kept holding her. I don't even have my shoes on. I left my keys, and everyone's just scared. It's traumatizing. It scares.
And Aaron, as we hear possibly from students there at Utah Valley University, because we know this event now is open to the public, it was free. It was a first come, first served basis. We did see a lot of students there clearly surrounding Charlie Kirk. Possibly that was one of the students there that was partaking. She was describing what she heard, what had happened. They got out of there as quickly as possible. While there were a lot of students there, Aaron, in support of listening and seeing Charlie Kirk in person, we do know also that Utah Valley University, the student newspaper there, had put out an article. The UVU had put out, or the UVU Review had put out an article that Charlie Kirk was going to be hosting this debate, exactly where we saw him, and that the campus was described as having a very divided opinion on Kirk being there. Even an online petition had been circulating around the university asking administrators to stop Kirk from coming. So just there was already a tension sort of surrounding this debate as Charlie Kirk was coming to the university as part of this American comeback tour that he was beginning.
It was a controversial visit from the start, and Charlie Kirk was speaking about controversial things, issues of religion, making a connection between being transgender and gun violence when the shot rang out. And according to eyewitnesses who were there in that outdoor courtyard, the police immediately grabbed someone, dragging him all the way down to the ground. This eyewitness described the suspect as an older man with white hair, a blue shirt, and the man was apparently, according to this eyewitness, yelling, "I do it again," after the authorities had already taken him into custody, Kira.
Okay, let's bring in our John Santucci now, Aaron, who has covered the Trump administration for a number of years. We are seeing via social media that the president said we must all be praying for Charlie Kirk, who has been shot, a great guy from top to bottom. God bless him. What more do we know about the deeper relationship between the president and Charlie Kirk, John?
Well, it's bigger than just the president, Kira. I mean, people describe Charlie Kirk as an extended member of the Trump family. Someone I spoke to just a few moments ago said Charlie Kirk was there from day one, going back to 2015. And really that relationship that began really with Donald Trump Jr., the president's eldest son. You know, even seeing social media posts by Vice President J.D. Vance, that's one of the reasons that Charlie Kirk helped bring J.D. Vance into the orbit along with Donald Trump Jr. It's the reason that J.D. Vance in part has his job, because this small little team connected by Charlie Kirk, Donald Trump Jr. that have been really friends for over a decade now, Kira. You know, one of the things that somebody said to me is that, you know, this is a guy that had been MAGA all the way, had been close to the family, had been someone they could rely on. He was somebody that, you know, would always do events last minute, create things around the Trump family. You know, think about some of the ways that we saw Donald Trump, you know, emerge amongst college students. So people I've spoken to today reminding me that's because of Charlie Kirk and these events that he was doing on college campuses. You know, the other note I would make, Kira, is that today, as people are hearing this news around the White House, around the Trump administration, I'm told by my sources, multiple friends of Kirk who are in the administration have joined together, have had prayer circles, praying for Charlie Kirk, praying for his young family. One person I spoke to said, you know, he just became a father not too recently. So that's one of the things that I think people are just grasping onto, the fact that they've seen this guy grow up. Right? This is not somebody that had been around politics in a big way before Donald Trump. You could argue their stars have risen together.
Talk to us more about Charlie Kirk and when he co-founded his organization and how the president felt about this organization and brought it into his orbit, and just the impact that it's made on the conservative world, in particular younger people, like what we're seeing here at the university. I mean, there was a reason he chose to take this tour on and go to colleges and university campuses.
Yeah, and you have to note that this organization in some ways has helped Donald Trump expand his base. Think about the way Donald Trump changed his campaign this last cycle, right? Donald Trump's a guy that grew up in old school media. Kirk and other people like him really expanded Donald Trump's horizons, along with his youngest son, Barron Trump, in this past election, to talk to podcasters, talk to social media, talk to young people in different venues, right? Kirk was part of this small team, along with the eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., that was really exposing Donald Trump to these folks. You know, I think also the fact that Kirk had one of the starring roles in the Republican National Convention last summer speaks to the point that this is a guy that was entering center stage for young conservatives, really pulling them into the party, right? The GOP that was the grand old party, Kirk was really injecting youth into this party, into Donald Trump's orbit. And I think seeing the fact, you know, one of our colleagues mentioned this earlier in the air with you, Kira, that Charlie Kirk was already at the White House doing events with Donald Trump while he was back in office. I mean, to see the statements that have already come out, it just shows how close of a relationship this was. But I can tell you from my sources, and I saw it myself with my own two eyes, the night J.D. Vance accepted the Republican nomination last July, was this small group of Donald Trump Jr., J.D. Vance, along with Charlie Kirk, and just a few other aides. This was the team. This was this core group of guys that made it happen for J.D. Vance, and ultimately was part of the team that made it successful last November for Donald Trump.
And Charlie Kirk's organization, Turning Point USA, putting out this statement now. This is an ongoing situation. We can confirm that Charlie Kirk has been shot. He is in the hospital. We are praying for him at this time. Let's bring in Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katursky. Are we learning anything more about motive, the suspect, or Charlie Kirk's condition?
Nothing specific about motive or Kirk's condition, Kira, but according to eyewitnesses, the suspect, who was taken into custody by police, was overheard shouting, "I do it again." I've been speaking with law enforcement officials who, like we have, been watching some of the horrifying video of an event that shows hundreds of people gathered at an outdoor courtyard where Charlie Kirk was speaking beneath a tent when they heard a single shot. One law enforcement official who watched the video said it appears to have been a high-caliber weapon at a high velocity, a very difficult injury. And we know that eyewitnesses have described the severity of the injury that they said they witnessed after the single shot rang out and Charlie Kirk went down, Kira.
We know now that the campus has been closed. By the way, you're looking at an image, and we froze it. We do have video of the shot that rang out, the video that was rolling here. Someone in the crowd took this. We have gained access to it, but we're going to keep that in a frozen mode because it's the moment that shot was fired and hit what we are told Charlie Kirk in the neck. Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas, as we see these last images before Charlie Kirk was shot, we do know the campus has been closed down. Classes have been canceled until further notice. Police, ATF, the FBI, all on the scene now, according to AG Pam Bondi. What more are you learning, Pierre Thomas, there out of DOJ?
Well, I spoke to a senior law enforcement official just a moment ago who said they're all waiting for an update on his condition. They all know that he is in the hospital. They're waiting for an update on his condition. And these officials have all been reviewing this video that we have access to as well. And one official I just spoke to said that law enforcement around the country right now, particularly for outdoor events involving public officials, are going to have to rethink security, especially people who might be controversial. This incident, again, has shaken official Washington, particularly the federal law enforcement officials from Bondi, the Attorney General, to the FBI Director, again, who all are in regular, constant communication with this White House in ways that some of their predecessors had not been. And these people know Mr. Kirk personally in many instances. So again, they're waiting on an update. All these sources are describing the situation as potentially grave. They're waiting, just like we are, to get an update. They are sending resources to try to lock down all information about the scene, interview witnesses, get whatever forensics evidence is available. All hands on deck situation. This is a top priority with the federal government right now.
Definitely all hands on deck. Former NYPD Chief of Detectives, also one of our contributors, Bob Boyce, just to sort of parlay off of what Pierre was just saying about rethinking security. There's so many factors here, Bob, right? We are in such a tense time politically. You have Charlie Kirk, mega podcaster, huge voice, especially among young conservatives, heading out on this tour to various campuses. And then we were learning about this divided opinion, according to the university's newspaper, even a petition that was circulating online, hundreds of students asking administrators to stop Kirk from coming. And then this happens. So many agencies now involved trying to find out more about this suspect who is now in custody, a possible motive. How did that weapon get inside this big venue? We know that, Bob, it was free, first come, first served tickets. It was open to the public, not just the university students.
Yeah, that's a big problem right there, Kara. You just nailed it. Is it open to outside people? And that's something you can't control. Secondly, going back to the outside venue, and a controversial person speaking in any way, with any kind of petition, any outside threats, we don't know right now. You really can't have it outside. You have to have a door to control, and that's important, especially in these times. We're really at a different point in our history that is really hard to believe. But you want to control that door. This way, you know who's inside, and you can walk around and identify anybody who's acting out of sorts. This is a big problem here, because this should have been prevented. Outside venues, and this with someone like this is a lightning rod to other people who's not afraid to talk about situations in our country, in our culture, our politics, is really going to generate a backlash. So those people in the petition, that's a clear sign right there. You really have to tap down and create a safe environment for everybody. And it's the outside people are just unexplicable to me. Why a university would let outside people come in and watch this on their campus, and that has to be answered.
And of course, we did receive video of the moment that shot rang out. We heard from our Aaron Katursky, Bob, that reports say that possibly that bullet hitting Charlie Kirk's neck, as our Aaron Katursky was describing, you could actually see blood pouring out. We did hear straight from Charlie Kirk's organization that he co-founded, Turning Point USA, that he is in the hospital, and they are all praying for him. Prayers coming from the President of the United States to those involved in his organization, those that have been on the tour with him. Aaron Katursky, anything new that you have learned as we will continue, of course, to hit the top of the hour here? We're trying to get as much information as possible about the condition of Charlie Kirk after being shot there on the university campus in Utah.
It seemed, according to eyewitness accounts and by law enforcement experts who have viewed the video, to be a very difficult injury from the single shot that struck Charlie Kirk. So everyone in the administration is sending prayers for his survival and well-being, but everyone is also braced for what could be some difficult news, Kira, because the single shot struck Charlie Kirk. Eyewitnesses said they saw a lot of blood coming from him, and then they all scattered. Now the university is urging everyone to leave campus to allow police to conduct the investigation. The suspect that was taken into custody, according to eyewitness accounts, was heard screaming, "I do it again," described as an older male wearing a blue shirt, someone who has white hair, but we've heard nothing else about the suspect, if it is indeed himself, or his condition. So far, the local police have said nothing. It's only the university that's now urging everyone to clear out of campus, Kira.
Well, talking about clearing out of campus, we now understand the President of the United States is clearing out his entire schedule right now. Let's get straight back to the White House. Our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce. What are you hearing from the President, Mary?
Well, Kira, as we've been mentioning, the president has a deeply close personal relationship with Charlie Kirk, and he is personally monitoring this. Sources tell us that he is clearing his schedule for the rest of the day. He was supposed to be having a dinner here at the White House in the Rose Garden later. A closed press dinner that has, we understand, now been postponed, so the president can solely focus on this situation. The president has taken to social media, as we mentioned, describing Charlie Kirk as a great guy from top to bottom. We've seen this huge outpouring of support from leaders in this administration. The vice president calling him a genuinely good guy, posting a photo, a recent picture of him with Charlie Kirk and the president's son. These relationships run deep, and he is a powerful force for this administration as well. He's been described as Trump's youth whisperer. He is tapped in to this important base for the president, becoming, not just an influencer, but a rising star in the party and someone who has really, driven a lot of support to this administration. He's also deeply loyal to the president and someone who the president turns to for advice. He turned to him to help him vetting some appointees early on in this administration. The president trusts him. This is not just, a relationship of solely political convenience. He has been seen here at the White House in recent weeks and months. And of course, he is a fixture out on college campuses as he does these tours and these events, always leaning into debating whatever is the latest and, yes, oftentimes controversial topics.
And now we're hearing, Mary, from Kamala Harris tweeting, "I'm deeply disturbed by the shooting in Utah. Doug and I send our prayers to Charlie Kirk and his family. Let me be clear, political violence has no place in America. I condemn this act, and we all must work together to ensure this does not lead to more violence." I do want to get to eyewitness Chase Hughes joining us by phone now. Chase, I understand you work for the student newspaper, the UVW Review, there on campus. Let's begin. I do want to talk about an article that ran in your newspaper prior to Charlie Kirk arriving there on campus. But can you tell us where you were, what you saw, what you heard? All the details, Chase.
Yes, real quick, just so I can say it now, it's UVU Review, and it's a student-run newspaper. We were there, we were shooting the content for it. We had Logan, who's here with us today. He was actually on the far side of the courtyard with a straight shot at Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, I was looking at him through my camera, filming from a balcony up above.
And so I walked around, and the atmosphere, there was a lot of people there, a lot of conservatives, a lot of liberals. Up and to the right of where he was at was kind of a crowd of them, and they had an LGBTQ flag. They had a sign that said Jesus was an immigrant, and they kind of were going back and forth, and Charlie made a couple jokes to them, and they kind of would boo when he was saying things. The first person came out, had their questions like normal, went away, and then the second person came out. I was above him and to the right, and Logan was across from him. And as I was standing there, as the person was asking questions, which I believe had to do with shootings.
Yeah, so the second person who was asking questions was actually asking questions related to shootings, and they were bringing up transgender shootings, gangs, and things like that. And in the middle of his question, right when Charlie Kirk reached over to grab the mic, that's when he was shot.
You heard a big firecrack noise. I mean, I've heard gunshots before, but this was, it felt like it rang in the courtyard as the shot came through. Everyone immediately started screaming. The security guard next to Charlie grabbed him, pulled him down. They ran back. People started fleeing. The people on the top of the balcony, the liberal students and some of the conservative students, started yelling at each other. I don't believe any sort of fighting happened, but some yelling there, and then everyone just fled the campus and halls were cleared. We saw 2 Army soldiers pass us with guns on the way towards the middle of the campus where we were at in our newsroom.
So Chase and Logan, stay with me. I have a few more questions for you. Either one of you can answer this. Do you have any idea where that gunshot came from? Was it far back? Was it up close? Could you tell? Did it look like it was from the middle of the crowd? Any details about where you heard that shot come from?
Well, I could tell you based off of what we heard, and we do have video of him being shot, and we have that currently. We believe it probably came from, how do I describe it? He's on the west side, and it's this courtyard, and it would probably come from east.
East up above on the balcony.
Up above on the balcony, but I would say even further back.
Yeah, close to where I was on.
Really?
That's where it sounded like, because I heard it from behind me when it came.
So maybe 100 feet back?
Yeah, something like that might have been possible.
And just let me ask you this, Logan, do you also work for the paper or just you, Chase?
No, I also work for the paper. I was filming footage from the balcony when this occurred.
Okay, got it. So Chase Hughes, Logan Topham both work for the UVU Review, the student newspaper there at Utah Valley University. If you don't mind telling me about the article that actually was printed in the paper about the debate that was going on about Charlie Kirk even coming to your campus. Can you tell me about the divided opinion that was apparently relevant here on campus when students like both of you found out Charlie Kirk was coming here, that the American Comeback Tour was coming to your campus, and then this petition that started circulating online. Just give us a sense as we now look at the aftermath here on your campus. Clearly, it's been all cleared out. Campus is on lockdown. Classes have been canceled. But as we look into this courtyard where Charlie Kirk was talking, can you tell me about this divided opinion about Charlie coming and speaking here on your campus?
I can make this really easy for you. The reporter who actually wrote the article you're referring to is coming right here. So his name's Tim Larson.
Okay.
If you want to give us an answer to that question, I apologize. We had to run and get him. He can give you a better answer.
Sure. I can talk to either you or Logan while you grab Tim, the one who wrote the article.
He's right here.
Okay. Tim, is Tim okay talking with me?
Yep, I'm good to talk.
Okay, Tim, I appreciate that. You wrote the article about the division that was taking place on your campus. There were students that wanted to hear from Charlie Kirk. There were clearly students that did not want to hear from Charlie Kirk. Can you describe to me the students that you talked to on both sides, what the feelings were, and just give us kind of an idea of just the tension before the shooting actually took place?
Yeah, so I was inside one of the buildings when it actually happened, but during writing the article beforehand, we wanted to put a lot of emphasis on trying to be as neutral as possible because it's a very divisive subject, right? We wanted to be as neutral as possible, get both sides as much as possible. And then when we actually were covering it there at the event, I went around and I was interviewing people. And yeah, some people were mixed on their opinions and emotions. Others were very in favor of him speaking. Others, I think, felt that he was kind of a divisive speaker and weren't exceptionally happy to see him on campus. But I think there was definitely a broad range of emotion there in the crowd.
Tim, Logan, Chase, all members of the student newspaper there, the UVU Review on Utah Valley University's campus. Appreciate your reporting, appreciate you adding balance and giving us an idea of where students were coming from and those that were in support of Charlie Kirk coming and those that were not. Clearly, that tension combined with gunfire, one shot bringing out and taking Charlie Kirk down, who now, according to his organization, is in the hospital after attending that debate as part of his American Comeback tour on campus. Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas has been talking with the FBI, the ATF, local police. Can you bring us any new information on who this suspect may be, a motive, anything, Pierre?
Kara, this is a pregnant pause moment. Law enforcement officials waiting desperately for an update on Mr. Kirk's condition. They're all extremely concerned about it. They're all doing an assessment of the threat environment, and officials are talking to me privately about this being a highly unusual period of time, perhaps unprecedented in modern history, recent history anyway. And they're talking about just a spate of incidents, and I'm not going to give them in any particular order, but we've had 2 assassination attempts against President Trump, a terror attack on New Year's Day in New Orleans, Minnesota state legislators, the focus of a fatal shooting in the state of Minnesota, a a fertility clinic in California bombed, arson of the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania, a shooting at the CDC where the CDC headquarters sprayed with bullets, 2 Israeli embassy staff members assassinated in Washington, D.C. Those incidents have all happened in the last 12 months or so, many of them in the last 6 months. So this moment where neither the left nor the right is being spared in terms of being the targets of this politically motivated violence is one that has the complete attention of law enforcement officials and state and local law enforcement officials, federal as well. And the question is what to do about it. We are now hearing from people saying that we're going to have to reassess outdoor events involving controversial figures, political figures. So this moment right now where we're all waiting on his condition, law enforcement, federal officials, all of political Washington, if you will, now having to reassess another day involving violence in this country, perhaps potentially politically motivated.
Pierre, thank you. And Mary Bruce, our chief White House correspondent. We should point out that while we are hearing from so many Republicans, from the President of the United States to the Vice President to the Attorney General, we are also hearing from people like Kamala Harris, both sides of the aisle condemning violence like this. Kamala Harris saying, "I'm deeply disturbed by the shooting in Utah. Doug and I send our prayers to Charlie Kirk and his family. Let me be clear, political violence has no place in America. I condemn this act, and we all must work together to ensure this does not lead to more violence." And that is the biggest concern clearly in our country right now, Mary, as Pierre just laid out the various attacks from the president to now Charlie Kirk, from assassination attempts to now one gunshot hitting Charlie Kirk possibly in the neck. He's in the hospital. We don't know his condition, but it brings us to a much wider discussion about political violence taking place in our country.
And Kira, we are hearing these condemnations of political violence coming from both sides of the aisle. You mentioned Kamala Harris, also Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries echoing the same sentiment. California Governor Gavin Newsom, who appeared not that long ago on Charlie Kirk's podcast, describing this as disgusting, vile, and reprehensible. Of course, we don't know yet what may have motivated this shooter. We have been talking a lot about Charlie Kirk's politics, but one thing that everyone can agree on is that there is simply no place in this country for this kind of violence. Yet, as Pierre outlined there, it is a reality, unfortunately, in this country. Certainly something that President Trump knows all too well, given the assassination attempts against his own life. We know that the president is personally monitoring this. He's cleared his schedule for the day. This is, as we have been saying, an administration that is personally deeply close to Charlie Kirk. There's a sense of shock and sadness here as everyone here tries to just comprehend what has happened and what this means. Charlie Kirk goes beyond just being a political ally and a loyal supporter of this president. He is close to this administration. He is someone who the president turns to. He is someone who the president has asked to help him vet appointees when he first came back into office earlier this year. He is someone who has close relationships, with the president's family. The president's son, Don Jr., once describing him as a rock star, of the far-right youth movement. He is really, at the center of this amazing, very powerful, influential, massive movement that he has started that has a huge spread, especially, of course, on college campuses where he frequently does events, much like the one that he was doing today, going out and speaking to students and talking about news of the day, the top issues of the day, leaning into political debate and discourse. And so this is something that is hitting very hard for this president and this administration, and we know that the president is keeping a close eye on this personally, Kara.
And Mary, I just got my hands on part of the speech that Charlie Kirk gave at the Republican National Convention back last year in July, where he introduces himself saying, "I'm Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action, together the largest conservative grassroots organization in the country. Thanks to our work, I talk to a lot of young people on campuses, at our events, on my radio show, podcast, and social media. I visit college campuses so you don't have to." Saying that and chuckling there at the RNC. And now, Mary, we've talked to a couple of the students there that work for the school newspaper, even the young reporter that wrote the story for the UVU Review, the college newspaper there at Utah Valley University, talking about the campus, describing the mood on campus, that they had a divided opinion about Charlie Kirk coming today and speaking. There was even an online petition asking university administrators to stop Kirk from coming. So the campus knew it was going to be tense, it was going to be controversial. And now Charlie Kirk is in the hospital after we heard that gunshot ring out there while he was speaking. And we are told now that conversation was about the transgender community and gun violence.
Yeah, we still don't know exactly what motivated the alleged shooter, but of course he was talking, as he often does, about many controversial topics, it seems, including, LGBTQ rights, trans issues, gun violence. These are all things that he has talked about, at these events in the past. So it's not unusual. And I think Charlie Kirk also was well aware that he was a divisive figure. It was part of what, has made him so popular among so many young people, is the fact that he welcomed these debates. He relished it. I mean, he hosts these segments where he would sit down and challenge people to come up and debate him. He wanted to sort of, take you down in these kind of rhetorical debates. And he wanted to pick apart these issues. It became a real sort of hallmark of his. Again, we don't know what is behind this shooting, but certainly this was another event where Charlie Kirk was going to go out and talk about his political beliefs. And those beliefs are ones that in many ways were supported by this administration. The president really relying on him to help deliver him the youth vote. The president has praised him in the past for building such a massive and influential movement and for helping him. And they are close friends, Kira. I just don't think you can underscore enough that this is not just a political relationship, but the members of this administration are close friends with Charlie Kirk, and that is why we are seeing, I think, such shock and sadness and confusion and and probably a lot of anger here at the White House as well.
Mary, thank you. Brad Garrett, former FBI agent. No doubt this is going to change security protocol at political events like this.
Oh, and I think even beyond that, Kara, corporations, insurance companies, things where people potentially are angry about something they make, something they've done. I think it could potentially create more thoughts about where you hold events and what security do you have. Now, granted, the issue when you tighten security at these events, it becomes more expensive. You've got to have people qualified to search bags, go through metal detectors, all of that stuff. But you even think about this from the realm of town hall meetings that every congressman probably holds. Even rethinking those. And, part of it's driven by two things. One is this adversarial atmosphere that we are in. And, if you combine that with sort of the anger and rage that people have to take out their feelings towards somebody that doesn't think the way they do or promoting something they think is wrong, you can end up with events like this. I'm not suggesting you're going to have shootings every day at some event. I'm only suggesting is that you're going to have to, if you are the person planning, if you are the congressman, you are a CEO, whatever you might be, you're going to have to rethink maybe how you do events and where you do them and how much can you control. You can still have the public come to these things, but you may have to funnel, as Bob Boyce pointed out earlier, you're going to have the public funnel through some sort of security, bag checks, whatever it might be, because obviously this guy was able to get, it sounds like whatever high-powered means here, into this venue.
So, Brad, I'm told we have two more eyewitnesses on the phone with us now. Natalie and her daughter, Enya Hooray. They were apparently 5 feet away from Charlie Kirk when shots rang out there on the campus. Natalie, Enya, thank you so much for calling in. Natalie, can you just sort of take us to the scene, tell us exactly where you were and what happened?
Yes, so we arrived, my daughter and I, we were so excited to be able to come to this event. We couldn't believe we were going to see Charlie Kirk, and my daughter arrived long before me, because she was able to get away, and I came from my office after. So we weren't quite next to each other, which I'm grateful for. It started out just, the crowd was so excited. He really was in a place where everybody was so just happy to see him. And he just started out with saying, I just want to know how much I love, the Mormons and the LDS, faith. And I'm so happy to be here. And there was a first person that came up and wanted to have a theology discussion. And, we're all happy for that, but it's not quite the forum. And after Charlie Kirk gave him some leeway, and he was so polite and so nice. He said, hey, I just want you to know I really don't want to have we differ on some things, and I love the Mormons, so let's maybe stop here and take other questions. And it was so sweet, and he just testified of Christ. It was just we just were so happy to have him there. And then it switched to the second question, so I took the camera down. It switched to the second question, and all of a sudden I heard the same pop as when President Trump was being shot at. And I just saw Charlie, and I'm standing 5 yards away, on the side, in the same place where he has his setup and his SUVs behind in the tunnel. And I just saw the shot, and the pop came, and he touched his neck, and he just fell down to the side. And immediately, I cannot believe how fast his team must have gotten him out of there. You didn't even see him being carried out. We just fell to the ground. There were some heroes that stood up and protected all of us, just screaming to us to get down on the ground against the wall and then out. So I went out the same tunnel where Charlie Kirk and his team had all of their SUVs. So I saw the blood droplets on the ground. So they must have carried him that way. They must have had him in an SUV while they were waiting for the ambulance. And then right behind me, they came with a man who the police said he had told them that he was the one who shot Charlie Kirk. And that's all the confirmation That's just for now. I don't know if that was the actual shooter, and somebody says that it was a sniper, but the shot came from low down. It didn't come from a rooftop. It came from really low down. Somebody in that like atrium-style courtyard, that would seem more reasonable.
So, Natalie, you said you and your daughter were very excited to see Charlie Kirk. Can you tell me what it is about Charlie Kirk that brought you to the event today?
Well, I think it's just, a long time ago, I heard this quote, and there's a whole essay I found out. It says, "Evil wins when good men do nothing." And I think we've just kind of come to a place in America where we're cheering way too much for evil and the bad things, and we just wanted to see someone who spoke their heart, who wants to love their family, you know, and just, hey, let's be good people and do the foundational, like, good things. You know, I'm a single person, like, just dating, you see how whacked it is today. Everything is just out of, and you have a person who comes, and he's so sweet. Like, he's just sweet, he always takes people's questions, he has respect for them, you know, all this stuff. He just wants to come out and show he's doing that. He's not letting evil win. He was a good man who's standing up for something, and we really, really need it, and that's why we wanted to come and listen to him. So,
Natalie Hooray, and your daughter Enya, I'm glad you are safe. Both of you eyewitnesses to the shooting that took place there on the campus today. Thank you for calling in. Washington Manager Editor Catherine Falder is now with us. Catherine, I understand your source is giving you some information about the shooting.
Yeah, we are, of course, learning more information about the shooting as we've been discussing as it relates to Charlie Kirk. But Kira, as you know, President Trump has posted about this, and he's closely monitoring this with his top officials. We know that the Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel have been giving him briefings. I'm told by multiple sources inside the White House and administration officials that Trump has cleared his schedule, that he's canceled the dinner that he intended to have later this evening, that he was inviting cabinet officials to. He's cleared that from his schedule to monitor the situation. Still unclear if we will hear directly from President Trump. I know that's something senior White House officials are discussing, but of course, I'm told that this has obviously rattled everybody inside the White House. I've been talking to multiple senior White House officials who have used words like shock, anger, sadness, disbelief as all of this unfolds. Kira.
Catherine, thank you. And once again, if you are tuning in, conservative activist and mega podcaster Charlie Kirk has been shot while speaking at an event in Utah there at the Utah Valley University. You know, he's the founder of Turning Point USA, that conservative student organization. Has rallied a lot of support for President Trump in the conservative world, especially among young students like those attending his event today. He's known for his outspoken views on politics, culture, religion, many times taking his message to college and university campuses. He had just taken off on this American comeback tour, and now we are told he's possibly fighting for his life in the hospital right now. We are going to continue, of course, our coverage here on ABC News Live, also abcnews.com. David Muir will be back with the entire team for World News Tonight. I'm Kira Phillips here in Washington. I'm glad you were able to tune in and follow this story closely with us. We'll bring you all the latest details as we get them.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
Near your thoracic vertebrae.